What's up, people? I hope you're all doing well. I am in my car driving right now, and I figured I'd just throw on a drawing in the background and just talk about some thoughts that I have about some stuff. Starting with the fact that today I'm feeling pretty good. I've been doing a lot of commissions, and mainly for the Kickstarter that just finished. I got the books. I literally sent in the print order today. So it's going to be pretty surreal to hold this book in my hand after working on it for so long. And I'm thinking to go with that book. I'm going to make a video. Probably the most effort I'm going to be putting into a video so far. But it's how to print, draw, and write and your own graphic novel. I don't. That's probably not going to be the title. Maybe something close to that. But I learned a lot of stuff starting from Sincerely Elise being a little seed of an idea into becoming a fully printed book. And I figured it could probably help some people along the way if they just get an idea to make a comic. And it's not too easy to be like, hey, yo, Dark Horse or DC or Marvel or whatever, I've got an idea and would you want to print it? It does take a lot of work and building a community and everything to kind of believe your idea. But I'm going to try my best to walk you through kind of my whole entire experience of how this thing has gone. But that's a video for another day. Hopefully next month I'll be able to put that out. But for now, I wanted to talk about something that is kind of trivializing to me. And I'm not sure if that's the right word, but my thoughts I've been asked my thoughts multiple times, digital or traditional. And I figured I'd just turn on the voice memos and just do a stream of conscious answer to this question, because I get it quite often. So do I like digital or traditional more? I think really the answer is there's really honestly no answer, because they each have their strengths and they each have their weaknesses. And if we were to start with digital's strengths for me is mainly the portability of it, and you're able to obviously do lots of different things on the fly, such as things like Liquify or Lasso or making changes that can't easily be made traditionally. Although the downsides for that is that you can't sell it as an original art unless you're going into the whole NFT stuff, and I just kind of stay away from that. Because it's just honestly, it's just too complicated, and I just don't care for it that much. That's pretty much it. It's straightforward. I don't care much, and I don't really have the time to get really into it, and yeah. But it going back to the Sincerely Elise thing, that whole comic is digital, and mainly most of the times that I've worked on it have been when I have been unable to do traditional work, or I'm in kind of a weird place to pull out a sketchbook or get to my desk with all of my markers surrounding me and everything. So that's when I would always be okay, so I'll just open Sincerely Elise and work on that and chip away at it, and then 5 years later I'm gonna have a cool project to give to people, and then I sell that as a physical book. It kind of loops back into a traditional thing, if that kind of makes sense. And that does become a common theme for me, is that I will meld both together. I'll do every single drawing you see me post is probably going to be sketched digitally on my iPad, and then I'll lower the opacity and print it out, and then use ink and marker over that as a traditional piece. But sketching it out digitally, again, it allows me to be portable just with my iPad. I don't have to have all these different sketchbooks or whatever on me, and It could all be, I guess, circumstantial, if that's a word, because, you know, I have a son now, and I have a full-time job, and I have a lot of stuff going on, so it's just easy to have my iPad and have all my drawings on that. And that's just kind of the situation I'm in. It feels like utilizing digital art that way is the most convenient and optimal, I guess. But yeah, so I'll do all of my art digitally, my sketched art digitally, and then I'll print it out. And that's kind of the first step to all of my work. And now another new interesting tidbit about digital is that AI art is kind of becoming a huge thing. And, you know, you don't really know if this art was made through AI, because it's getting like frighteningly good. So it kind of gets to the point where you're not sure if it was made by a human or not, unless, you know, it's hand painted or hand colored or whatever. So, but then again, another strength to AI art is you could utilize it in your own art. For example, I've been thinking for a long time, kind of, because backgrounds take such a long time for me. And while I do love rendering backgrounds, if you're doing a comic book, kind of trying to, you know, push and pull an AI art into making a background that kind of is feasible for the comic that you're working with, will help speed up the process. And it's all sort of royalty free, and, you know, it's pretty easy that way. At least that's how I think it is. I mean, I haven't really looked too far into AI art. I don't know what the like legal restraints of it are. Sorry for me stumbling over my words. I'm just kind of babbling. But yeah, so it just feels like everything has a strength and a weakness. Now, when it comes to traditional art, however, for me, what I enjoy most is the aesthetic of the way my art looks traditionally versus how it looks digitally. I am not there yet, I think. With digital work, I'm not really 100% satisfied with my style in a digital format. But when it comes to traditional, the look of markers and everything just seems more pleasing to the eye to me, which is why a lot of my work is printed and used with ink and marker. But then again, every artist is different, you know? Like, there's a ton of artists out there that do incredible digital work, but when it comes to traditional, the translation from a digital painting to a traditional painting is wildly different, at least to me. So in addition to the aesthetic of traditional work, just the fact that, I mean, it kind of bounces off the whole having an original piece at the end of it, holding a piece that was drawn by a human in my hand just kind of means a lot more than having a file. And, you know, this is a argument that has been going on for years, but there's just nothing quite like commissioning an artist and receiving the piece, you know, that you asked for and you dreamt up and had them draw in the mail, unpacking it, hanging it up, framing it and everything. There's so much more to it to me than, you know, just, you know, like going to a print shop and printing out a digital commission. But I mean, that's just how I see it. Some people prefer it that way, and, you know, no. And if you're one of those people, good for you, man. You're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing, and that's how it goes. A downside to traditional work, however, is the fact that it gets very expensive. It gets very expensive. You know, when you're just working on Photoshop or Procreate, you have every brush in every color available to you that you can imagine, unless you're like buying brush sets and stuff. But even still, people are selling brush sets for like $20. Dude, it costs like $70 for a pack of, you know, like 24 good markers. It gets expensive. And I'm sure paints are the same way. Like canvases, sketchbook, I mean, all the supplies that goes into traditional work is definitely an investment. While, digital, it'll be a big investment initially when you need to get your iPad or your Wacom Cintiq, and you need to buy your programs like Photoshop or your freaking $10 purchase of Procreate. I'm always gonna back Procreate for being $10, and then that's it. No sub fee, and gosh, I really hope they don't do subscription fees. But yeah, it's a pretty huge downside. It costs a lot to kind of maintain your traditional work. So, I think that kind of is all of my thoughts on digital and traditional stuff. It's just like the convenience of digital versus the aesthetic of traditional is kind of how I see it. And that's why I like both. And that's why I use both, for different reasons. You don't have to stick into one world. It doesn't have to be a Xbox PS5 thing where you're just die hard for traditional and you're like, shut up, digital kids. The traditional kids are way more talented or cooler or whatever. It's just, it's just a different lifestyle. That's just how it is. And that is all my thoughts. That's pretty much where I'm going to end that. I hope you liked this. Hopefully it helped you somewhat. I don't know. But at least there's my answer to what I prefer for traditional and digital. And I said those two words a lot in this video, and I'm sorry if it's just kind of a broken record at this point. But anyways, I appreciate you listening to the video. Please like or subscribe or leave comments. Let me know what you want to hear from me, what other videos you want or topics you want me to just kind of babble on about. I'm always happy to do that. And yeah, take care, everybody. Bye.